Hello and welcome to House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. And now, let's see the headlines for today. BKSAP of the House agreed to work together with the U.S. Congressional Office for International Leadership to strengthen legislative capabilities. Vice Speaker of the House urged the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to actively monitor Indonesian citizens near the Thailand-Cambodia border amid rising military tensions. Commission 4 welcomed representatives from the Australian Embassy to explore potential bilateral cooperation in agriculture, fisheries, and forestry. A drop in U.S. tariff on Indonesian goods from 32% to 90% gives an opportunity to boost foreign investment and expand Indonesia's textile exports in global markets. Grave of the Fireflies, the emotional animated film by Studio Ghibli, will finally be released in Indonesian theaters. BKSAP received a visit from the U.S. Congressional Office for International Leadership to explore potential collaboration through a leadership training program focusing on capacity building for members of the Indonesian House.
Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Mardani Alisera welcomed the opportunity to involve Indonesian parliamentarians in the program, which offers structured training, knowledge exchange, and experience sharing initiatives organized by the U.S. Congress. The House initially plans to send 5 of its members to participate in the program, with the selection process designed to reflect the diversity of the Indonesian parliament. Factors such as gender, age, and political party background will be taken into account to ensure broad and inclusive representations.
COIL adalah satu lembaga di bawah Kongres Amerika, Congress Office for International Leadership. Sudah 2 tahun di Indonesia dan ini kunjungan yang pertama dan mengajak langsung kita kolaborasi, ada peluang untuk ikut pelatihan bagi anggota DPR RI di Kongres Amerika fall nanti September. Tadi disampaikan apa aja temanya, saya bilang demokrasi pasti, improvement our capacity dalam hal lebih mendengar suara masyarakat bawah, dan tentu bagaimana kita membina hubungan baik dengan Kongres Amerika.
Furthermore, Mardani hopes the training program can strengthen the capacity of Indonesian MPs in supporting democracy, enhancing parliamentary competence, and deepening bilateral cooperations between the two legislative institutions. Bondan Endomi, TVA Parliament Report.
Amid the escalating tensions between Thailand and Cambodia, Vice Speaker urged Indonesians in the affected areas to remain calm and alert. He asked them to stay in contact with the Indonesian Embassy to ensure access to accurate information and support.
Vice Speaker for Politics and Security Suhmi Dasko Ahmad urged the Indonesian government to prioritize the protections of Indonesian citizens living in areas affected by the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. He added Indonesia maintains strong and friendly relations with both countries and encouraged the government to take a more active role in supporting efforts to de-escalate the situations. Furthermore, Dasko hoped the conflict would not lead to wider instability in the ASEAN region.
Ya, yang pertama kita mengimbau kepada warga negara kita di Kamboja dan Thailand yang cukup banyak untuk tetap tenang, dan kita minta Kementerian Luar Negeri untuk kemudian melakukan komunikasi untuk menenangkan negara kita. Nah, untuk urusan Kamboja dan Thailand, saya pikir hubungan Indonesia terhadap 2 negara itu cukup baik. Mudah-mudahan Kementerian Luar Negeri maupun Presiden Indonesia juga bisa menjembatani agar hubungan kedua negara itu akan tetap baik.
Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire to address the deadly border clashes between the two countries. Acting Thai Prime Minister and Cambodian Prime Minister held ceasefire talks at the official residence of Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, located in Putrajaya, Malaysia's administrative capital. The 5-day conflict has displaced over 300,000 people and claimed at least 43 lives. This marked the deadliest confrontations between Thailand and Cambodia in the past decade. Zikri Andenus, TVR Parliament Report.
Commission 4 welcomed the Australian Deputy Ambassador to discuss potential cooperation in agriculture. The meeting emphasized the importance of building agricultural system through collaboration and knowledge sharing.
Chairperson of Commission 4 of the House, Siti Hediati Suharto, stated the meeting was a strategic step toward developing modern agriculture in Indonesia. Therefore, Commission 4 plans to conduct a direct working visit to Australia to meet with relevant ministries and parliamentary counterparts to study advancements in agriculture, fisheries, and forestry that could support Indonesia's sectoral development.
Tentunya nanti kalau di sana kita akan berjumpa dengan pihak-pihak terkait, parlemennya di Australia, kemudian kementeriannya mungkin ya, kita meninjau pertanian di sana atau pasar ikan di sana, nah kita melihat kalau bisa dikerjasamakan kita kerjasama.
Meanwhile, the Australian Deputy Ambassador to Indonesia, Gita Kamat, supports the planned visit and hopes it gives an opportunity to build a stronger foundation for bilateral ties. She added collaboration through parliamentary diplomacy could open up more productive and mutually beneficial partnership between the two countries.
Nama Kedutaan Besar Australia, kami sangat senang dan sangat menghormati bahawa anggota Komisi 4 dipimpin oleh Ibu Titik bisa berkunjung ke Australia untuk kunjungan lapangan pada akhir bulan ini untuk mendukung dan mendorong kerjasama antara Australia dan Indonesia di bidang pertanian, perhutanan, dan perikanan.
Dodi Muharam, TVR Parliament Reports.
After the break, we bring more updates from Commission 7 of the House, so stay tuned to House News. Commission 7 emphasized the recent reduction in U.S. reciprocal tariff on Indonesian products give an opportunity to improve the quality and competitiveness of the national textile industry.
Chairperson of Commission 7 of the House, Saleh Partawanan Daulay, is optimistic Indonesian textiles can compete with import products from the United States and China. He highlighted the role of vocational institutions such as textile technology polytechnics in producing highly skilled human resources. These institutions can ensure Indonesia's textile products remain competitive and meet international quality standards.
Tekstil yang baik itu semakin menjadi bersaing. Nah, karena itu kalaupun nanti barang-barang Amerika masuk ke Indonesia, itu bukan pilihan utama dari masyarakat kita. Tentu akan tetap cinta pada produk Indonesia. Nah, karena itu memang barang-barang yang kita produksi juga harus baik dan semakin baik gitu. Jadi ini sebetulnya tidak sesuatu yang perlu kita khawatirkan. Produk Amerika datang ke Indonesia dalam bidang tekstil, saya kira tidak apa-apa, datang saja. Tetapi percaya dengan saya, barang itu pasti akan mahal harganya. Karena labor cost di Amerika itu jauh lebih mahal dibandingkan labor cost di kita. Kalau di kita kan UMR, ada standarnya, masing-masing daerah punya standar itu. Dan karena itu mungkin dari sisi labor cost itu akan bersaing, tetapi mungkin yang akan perlu kita khawatirkan salah satunya adalah mungkin barang-barang dari Cina. Karena barang-barang dari Cina itu walaupun misalnya labor cost dia mungkin tidak jauh beda dengan kita atau mungkin bisa lebih tinggi gitu, tetapi mungkin karena barang dia itu masif datang ke Indonesia, itu mungkin persaingannya tetap ada.
Furthermore, Saleh suggested the government reduce its reliance on imported textile machinery. This will stimulate local innovations support domestic manufacturing, and enhance the efficiency of Indonesia textile industry. From West Java, Adila Febianto, TVR Parliament reports.
Indonesia has 140 million tons of nickel resources and 49 million tons in reserve, make the country as a major player in the global supply of nickel, a key raw material for electric vehicle batteries.
During a working visit to southwest Papua, Commission 6 of the House inspected the nickel mining sectors, particularly state-owned PT Antam and mining holding company Mine ID. Member of Commission 6 Budi Kanang mentioned accelerating the implementations of nickel downstreaming is necessary to secure Indonesia's place in the global EV industry supply chain. He added the current timeline of 2029 to 2030 is too slow. Therefore, he urged the government to evaluate the policy to stay competitive with other countries.
Hilirisasi harus dipadatkan lagi waktunya, dipercepat lagi. Kalau perlu 2026. Nah, ketika ada perusahaan-perusahaan Cina yang datang untuk bagaimana membuat industri mobil listrik, maka kita harus stop dulu. Baterainya dari saya dong. Bukan hanya nikelnya saja dari saya.
Meanwhile, Vice Chairperson of Commission 6, Nurdin Halid, explained the presence of nickel mines has had a positive impact on employment. However, he pointed out all mining activities must undergo assessment, especially concerning potential environmental impacts that could harm ecosystem and surrounding communities.
Ya, tentu yang pertama adalah bagaimana supaya meminimalkan dampak lingkungan, ya. Kemudian menciptakan daripada kesejahteraan, kemaslahatan daripada masyarakat yang hidup di sekitar tambang nikel tersebut. Jadi dampak lingkungan, kemudian kesejahteraan, kemaslahatan dari lingkungan.
From Sorong, Southwest Papua, Akbar Prakoso, TVR Parliament reports.
The Ministry of Manpower has recorded a 32% increase in layoff from January to June 2025, with the majority in the manufacturing, trade, and mining sectors.
Vice Speaker for People's Welfare Cucun Ahmad Syamsur Rizal emphasized the importance of state interventions to provide capital support for companies facing financial difficulties amid ongoing global economic uncertainty. Cucun also advised large corporations to actively engage in communications and consultations with the relevant ministries in order to develop appropriate solutions for maintaining economic stability and preventing a wave of mass layoffs.
Terkait sekarang informasi PHK segala macam, DPR akan selalu turun dan kita memediasi. Ya, kalau misalkan proses PHK-nya segala macam itu mereka masih bisa survei, perlu kehadiran negara. Ya, misalkan ya ada apa nih terkait PHK-nya? Misalkan mereka akses permodalan atau segala macam atau di marketing. Nah, yang kedua yang saya sampaikan tadi di depan semua publik bahwa Pak Menko PMK itu punya plan bagaimana yang kemarin misalkan di eranya Pak Jokowi ada prakerja atau segala macam. Nah, ini semua akan melibatkan sektor industri tadi, sektor usahawan ya. Makanya saya akan terus juga memantau bagaimana kebetulan kornya Pak Menteri Tenaga Kerja juga di bawah kami di Korkesra, kita ingin minimalisir.
Furthermore, Cucun urged the government to be consistent and committed in reducing poverty in Indonesia by improving the quality of human resources and strengthening the capital sectors. From West Java, Bani, TVR Parliament reports.
When we return, we have more updates on the art and culture, only on House News. One of the most emotional films by Studio Ghibli, Grave of the Fireflies is finally coming to Indonesia. Starting August 2025, audience will be able to experience this powerful story in theaters for the very first time.
Based on Akiyuki Nosaka's novel and directed by the legendary Japanese animator Isao Takahata, it tells the story of two orphans, Seita and Setsuko, and their desperate struggle to survive the final months of World War II. Through beautiful animations and deep emotions, the film shows the true cost of war on everyday people. Grave of the Fireflies first came out in 1988. Since then, it has been known around the world as one of the most touching and realistic war movies ever made. Unlike most animated films that are full of fantasy and happy endings, this movie is raw and honest. It doesn't hold back from showing how war destroys lives, especially the lives of innocent children. Its simplicity and emotional truth have earned it international praise. Many critics call it one of Studio Ghibli's greatest achievements, and some say it's the most powerful anti-war film ever created. Grave of the Fireflies is an important film because it emphasizes the value of life. While it shows the tragedies and sufferings that Japanese people had to endure during the war, viewers are also asking why and how World War II was allowed to happen. So if you've never seen it, or if you want to feel its message all over again, this is your chance. Bring tissues, bring your heart, and prepare for a story that will stay with you long after the credits roll.
The rice fields in Japan transform into rice paddy art at certain times each year. This summer, the fields in Saitama Prefecture are designed to form a giant image of the popular anime Demon Slayer.
Every summer, the city of Gyoda in Saitama Prefecture turns rice paddies into giant canvases, planting colorful rice varieties to form massive works of art. These living murals stretch across nearly 3 hectares and can only be fully appreciated from above. Gyoda's rice paddy art holds the Guinness World Record for the largest of its kind, and each year it draws visitors to see what design will emerge from the fields. For 2025, to celebrate the final chapter of the popular anime Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, a rice field has been turned into a giant artwork featuring Tanjiro Kamado, the main character of the story. This incredible image was created by planting different kinds of colorful rice plants, which form a detailed picture when seen from above. The artwork has quickly gained attention from anime fans all around the world. This type of artwork is known as Tanbo art, which means rice field art in Japanese. It's a popular tradition in Japan where people use rice field like a giant canvas. But this Tanjiro design is extra special. It was made as a tribute to one of the most beloved anime series of the last decade. The colorful rice plants were planted carefully and with perfect planning, so that as they grow, they form Tanjiro's face, complete with his iconic expressions.
An Indonesian culture book has reached global audiences. Wayang Potehi of Java is now available in over major libraries and top universities around the world such as Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and the Library of Congress.
A book titled Wayang Potehi of Java by Ardian Purwosaputro is drawing global attentions by highlighting Wayang Potehi, a traditional puppet art that many people have never heard of. This book is now recognized around the world and available in over 300 major libraries, including at top universities like Harvard, Oxford and Cambridge, and even the U.S. Library of Congress. Ardian documents the performances and also explores the deep cultural values behind Wayang Potehi, especially the mix of Chinese and Japanese traditions found in local communities. The book combines detailed cultural research, visuals, and real stories from Gudo Jombang, the birthplace of this puppet art. More than just a cultural reference, this book is also seen as a powerful tool of Indonesian cultural diplomacy. Ardian has been invited to speak at cultural forums and universities in Japan, Taiwan, and Malaysia. His work has received praise from well-known researchers and respected cultural institutions. Wayang Potehi is a traditional Chinese performing art that has become part of Indonesia's cultural heritage. It features hand puppet performances made of cloth, with each puppet operated by a puppeteer and accompanied by traditional music. Wayang Potehi is not just a form of entertainment, it also brings deep moral, historical, and cultural values.
And that's House News for today. Thank you for watching everyone and have a good day.